Welcome to the Grief and Belief podcast, where we share stories of hope. Thank you for joining us. We hope this powerful story will help you feel God's love for you today.
Welcome to another episode of the Grief and Belief podcast. I'm David Mickelson.
I'm Kori Andrews.
And we have a very, very special visitor with us today. And Kori, I think I'm going to let you introduce her.
Yes, because I'm so excited that we have our youngest guest that we've had so far on the Grief and Belief podcast. And it's my daughter, Kallie. Kallie, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
Yep. And we have taken some time to talk through some things, and I'm just excited for you to hear what Kallie has to share today. She is a light in our family in so many ways, and I am so grateful for her. She is my oldest daughter, and she has taught me so much, and I can't wait for you to hear some thoughts from her today.
Yeah, I'm really excited because I've known Kallie for a few years now, and just with every interaction that I have with her, I esteem her higher. She is a sweet gal. She's funny. She's got energy. She's interested in lots of things. And so I think this will be an episode for the ages.
Yeah. All right, Kallie, are you ready to jump in?
Yeah.
Okay, introduce yourself. Tell our audience a little bit about you. What do you like? What do you like? All that fun stuff.
Who do you like?
Who do you like?
Just kidding.
So I'm 12 years old, and I'm homeschooled. I love volleyball, and I love hanging out with my siblings and having a lot of fun with friends and my parents, and I also do piano and show choir, and so that's been really fun, and yeah.
Awesome.
Maybe on that note of enjoying being around your siblings, kind of a funny thing, Kori and I have kind of later night meetings to talk about the podcast, and every night Kallie and the sister just younger than her are just always together and always trying to stay up later than they should because they love to be together and they're having fun together. And then usually I hear something like, the alarm's going to go off at 5 o'clock in the morning, but she just wants to be with her siblings. And I have loved seeing that interaction between your kids and Kori and Kallie, the way that you love your little siblings, has always been something I've enjoyed seeing.
And a dream of mine, and you are a leader that way in our family. And yep, her and Caitlin, they're inseparable, 2 peas in a pod. And they're so fun. And so, all right. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about your family? Anything else you want to talk about? Maybe your dad or anything?
My dad's pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know. He does a lot of stuff. Well, on the note with my siblings as well, I've just, as we'll talk about later, but they're just really awesome. They're really supportive, even though they can be really sassy to me sometimes. It's been really awesome to have them. My dad's pretty cool, and I love going on trips with my family. It's been, yeah.
I did pay her to say that part, but no, we're so grateful for you, Kallie. All right, let's jump in and talk about who we are here to talk about today, and that's your youngest sister, your littlest sister, and my daughter, Kamryn. Do you want to introduce us to Kamryn and what you remember about her?
Yeah, so I guess I'll just start at the beginning. So when, it was unexpected. I didn't know that anything was wrong or anything, and I just, woke up and my grandpa was there. I'm like, why is my grandpa here right now? Because my parents were gone, and so it was just kind of, I was like, what's happening? They're like, your parents are at the hospital. I'm like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of told us a little bit what was happening. And then we went over to our aunt's house. And as soon as we got there, my dad came running down this hill in their backyard. And he's like, look up. And it was a helicopter. It was the life flight that my mom was in. And then, yeah. So that was a little bit hard for me because I didn't really understand what was going on at that time. I was just kind of like, why is Mom in the helicopter? And then a few days, like, it'd been a while, and we hadn't seen our parents a lot. So it was kind of hard, and it was just kind of like, take it day by day, like, I don't really know what's happening. And then my dad would come home sometimes, but my mom couldn't. And so he would come home and kind of tell us, like, the update, like, what's going on. And then Kamryn was born, just like, and it was just kind of like really fast and really unexpected. Like, she wasn't supposed to be born yet, like, what's happening. So that was kind of hard to process, like what was going on. But, like, my family members, like my grandma and my aunt and everything, they were always, like, so helpful. They, like, helped me, like, kind of know, and they would, like, show me, like, the posts that my dad would post about her, and that just kind of went on, and I ended up, we ended up being able to go see our mom at the hospital, and it was really special. And I remember going to the hospital once to see my mom, and then my grandpa and my dad gave her a blessing, and that was kind of hard for me, because I didn't really understand. And then I really wanted to see Kamryn, so we went and visited the hospital again. And I actually, they were like, I had to, we had to fill out this paperwork, and they're like, you have to get your COVID shot. I'm like, I hate shots so much. So it was, like, really hard for me, but I ended up getting it. And then, we had to get 2. And so we had to get the second one, 2 weeks later. But Kamryn ended up passing before that time. But when they knew she might pass soon, they let us go see her, even though we hadn't got our COVID shots all the way. And it was just me and my sister who could get them, because the other siblings weren't old enough yet. And so that was just a really special moment.
Can I jump in, Kallie? Because I thought that was so impressive of you to get your COVID shot, because it was really scary for you and for Caitlin to get your COVID shots, and you don't love shots, but you were willing to sacrifice, some pain to be able to meet your sister, just for the possibility of getting able to meet her. And so I was just really impressed with your bravery. And throughout that time, tell anything else you want to share about what it was like when mom and dad were off at the hospital, bouncing back and forth while Kamryn was in the hospital. Anything else you remember from that time?
Yeah, there was a certain time where both my grandparents weren't really coming over, and it was just my great-grandma that was watching us, and I started getting earaches, and they were just kept going, and, I didn't know why, and then it lasted days and days, and Mom and Dad, they couldn't come home, and they didn't really know, and then and it was really hard, because I felt like a big responsibility as the oldest child to help take care, but I just couldn't do anything, and I was in a lot of pain, and so that was kind of hard for me. And my mom ended up being able to come home for the first time and was able to take me to the doctor, and we ended up learning that I had an ear infection, and so so that was kind of probably the hardest part, because it was also my grandparents weren't there. So we weren't really getting updates about Kamryn, we were in the, we didn't know. And so that was probably the hardest part for me, but it was really happy when I got to see my mom come home, so yeah.
I'm curious, because I know in Kori's episode, which was episode 2, if you haven't listened to Kori's episode, make sure to go back to episode 2 and listen to him. He shares this experience of when you got to meet Kamryn for the first time and having to kind of be snuck in through the elevator. Can you talk about that, and then maybe talk about meeting Kamryn for the first time?
Yeah, sure. So we got into the hospital, and I was really excited. I was oh my gosh, this is the first time I get to meet her. It's going to be an awesome moment. And then my parents met us, and the doctor, some of the helpers, they came in there, took us through this weird back door into in the NICU into Kamryn's room, and I got to meet her. And at first I was really, I was a little scared, nervous, and I wasn't sure if I was able to touch her or anything, but it was a really special moment, and we got to take a family picture with all of us, and it was kind of hard for me to see her, but it was also a really special moment that we got to all spend together as a family.
What was hard about it?
Just seeing her like this, this was very even now was still unexpected, this was not supposed to happen, and it was just kind of hard for me to see her like that.
Kind of hooked up to all the monitors and even maybe looking at her, because she was so sick, she had lots going on just on her, right?
Yeah.
And so, I can certainly understand that.
And Kallie, how much did you know at that point? Do you remember knowing that this was maybe the last time that you would see her?
We hadn't really been told, but we knew she was getting really sick at that point. We weren't sure what was going to happen, and I remember praying at night, please help our family. So I didn't know she was going to pass the next day, but I did know that she was getting it was getting really hard for her.
Yeah. Ooh. Thank you, Kallie. Thanks for sharing those things. And I just keep thinking of you as the oldest sibling and the weight that you bore, and then to see, your littlest sibling that way. And I can imagine that could be really hard. And just, I'm so impressed by, and you're a 9-year-old at this point, but you handled it with so much strength and so much grace. And I'm just super grateful for you.
Well, let's talk about kind of now Kamryn passes away and what happens in that next little while. What do you remember after Kamryn passed away?
Well, we didn't know she had passed away yet, and my parents got home, and they told us Kamryn passed away. And they were kind of just gave us the talk, we'll be able to see her again, and then they told us. But we can still have adventures with her. And we started this thing called Fun with Kamryn, where we go on adventures as a family, and Kamryn's there. And so the day that she passed away, we went to this river, this creek called Dripping Rock, and we all went there as a family. That was our first Fun with Kamryn adventure. And we've done a lot of other things. We went to Disneyland, which ended up being on her birthday, because for my choir gave us a scholarship to let us be in it, all the girls in our family. And the tour was Disneyland on Kamryn's birthday. And so that was a really special one. And we recently went on a cruise for another one of our Fun with Kamryn moments, and that was really special. So, yeah.
Was that cruise sponsored by High Five Live Tours?
.com.
Yes.
No, just kidding. Thank you to our sponsor, but no, that was an incredible experience, and I do remember we also, one of my favorite parts was, you missed this part, but we went to an Angels game as well, which kind of fit because it was her, her birthday of our angel, and we had happy birthday up on the thing on the screen for Kamryn, and that was a special trip, and that was provided by your choir. Shout out to Standout Studios who made that possible. That was awesome. Thank you, Kallie. Thank you for sharing that. I kind of wonder, as a 12-year-old, and this was 3 years ago, which we were talking before. That was a quarter of your life ago that this all happened, and you've had some experiences and have maybe some wisdom that you'd be willing to share with somebody, a young person who's lost a sibling or maybe just lost somebody that they love. Do you have any advice or anything you'd want to share with someone who's grieving someone they love?
Yeah. So the first thing that I would say is just like look to Jesus Christ. Like if without Jesus Christ, like I wouldn't be the person that I am. I would have just felt way more sad that Karen passed away. Even though I was like really sad, when she passed away, I still knew there was hope, and it really opened my eyes that like Jesus Christ is there. Like I will see her again. It opened my eyes into seeing that I will be with my sister. We will all be a family together again, thanks to Jesus Christ. And it gave me so much hope. It was still super hard, but it without it, I would have just not known what to do. I would have not known how to feel because I wouldn't know that I'd be able to see her again. So that it's just really special to be able to know that, and not everybody gets to know that. And so I'm really lucky to have parents that taught me that and showed me that I will be able to be with Kamryn again.
Awesome. What else helped you through that time? Anything else that you're thinking of that helped you through that experience?
There was a lot of people, and I couldn't name all of them, but on the day of Kamryn's funeral, they covered the streets, like along the streets, with bags that were like colored, and they had lights in them, and it was all around, and we got to actually keep all those bags and look through them, and it was so amazing. And they made a song for Kamryn. It was "I Am a Child of God," but it was like about Kamryn, and they sang that for our family, and it was really just amazing. And all those people, they just really helped us through that time. That was just really hard for our family. And like they got people to color those bags from like our old ward, and like all around, like a bunch of different people. There was hundreds of them, and it was a really special experience for me.
Yeah, they were beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well put, Kallie. Thank you for your testimony and your gratitude for all those people. And you're right, like it would be impossible to name everybody that helped us, supported us, and prayed for us, and we really did. We felt a lot of love during that time. Do you want to talk a little about your song that you wrote for Kamryn?
Seeing like lots of themes with music in you, Kallie, of show choir, and the song with the "I Am a Child of God" with the lyrics changed, and then this song. So I can tell it's something special for you.
Yeah. So I wrote a song that I performed at Kamryn's funeral. It was about Kamryn, and it was about how she's an amazing girl, and she pushed so hard and all these things. And how it happened is I had these chords. It was on the piano, and I had these chords like that I would just play like all the time, just for like fun. Like I didn't know where they came from, but I would just play them. And I was at church one day, and a guy came up to me, and he's like, "Does it have lyrics?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "Well, next time I hear it, I want it to have lyrics." And so I ended up writing Kamryn's song to those lyrics, which like I never thought like I was gonna write a song for her until then. And it was really special for me. It was a special experience to be able to perform it and to write it, and changed a lot, but it was just the way that it did, it came together for me really well.
It was beautiful. I had a couple people come up to me during you played it at her funeral, and they came up to me afterwards and were like, "Wow, like that was awesome." And she put that together by herself. She wrote that, and I'm like, it was cool to say, yeah, that was all her creation. That was all on your own, and you wrote that. And even your piano teacher was like, "Whoa."
Yeah, my piano teacher would like ask me every lesson, like, "Have you written something else?" I'm like, "No, not yet."
Yeah, super talented, Kallie, and thank you for sharing that. Well, thank you for taking the time. This has been amazing for me. Dream come true to sit here and to talk to you. It's amazing. And so, but let's end with our last question that we like to ask all our guests, and that is, considering your experience with grief, what do you now believe about Jesus Christ?
Well, to go back to my song, there's some lyrics in the song that say, she's with someone I love. And sometimes my brother, I'll put him down and I'll be like, what song do you want me to sing? He's like, the Kamryn song. And so I'll sing that song, and then every time I say, she's with someone I love, he always goes, and that's Jesus. And so it's so awesome in that I really feel that she is with someone I love. She's with Jesus Christ, and she's with Heavenly Father. She's in heaven, and she's watching and protecting us. And I believe that Jesus Christ, like, he's there. I believe that without losing Kamryn, though it was like really hard, I wouldn't have felt so strongly that Jesus Christ is real and that he loves us. And like before Kamryn passed away, I didn't really want to go to church like a normal kid would be like, I don't want to go to church, like, let me stay home. I wanted to do other things, but after Kamryn passed away, and it was a while, it was like been a minute, and then I had been struggling, like I was really scared, but I was just scared about things a lot. And then on Sundays I would go to church, and I was like, I just feel peace, like this is where I want to be. Like all the time. Like I wish church was 2 days a week, because it brought a lot of hope. Like when you go to church, you're just thinking about Jesus Christ. Like that's the main focus, and then there's like you don't think doubt in that time when you're just like, when people are like, Jesus Christ is real and I love him, and bearing their testimonies and everything. And it just has helped me believe in Jesus Christ, and that this experience of losing Kamryn helped me grow closer to him. Yeah.
Thanks, Kallie. When you said that, it made me so grateful that Kamryn came to teach us the lessons that she did, even though she had a hard life. But it also made me feel that I'm so grateful you came to our family, and you have taught me so much about Jesus Christ, and your light inspires our family in so many ways, and I love you.
I love you too.
All right, welcome to part 2 of our special episode today. We have another incredible guest with us. David, do you want to introduce our guest to us?
Yeah, you might notice a theme here, which is Kori and I are interviewing our special daughters. And So today we have Allie with us. Allie is our youngest daughter. Allie is special for a myriad of reasons. She is just so social, so happy. She's a peacemaker in her home. She is fun. She's got some of that sass with her as well. She's a good balance of sugar and spice. And something kind of special about Allie that's maybe a little unique in our family. While we can see some of Ava in all of our kids in one aspect or another, Allie looks like Ava. Allie acts like Ava. Allie talks like Ava. Allie is maybe not a spitting image of Ava, but is so close that sometimes you do a double take. And it's not just the looks, but it's just how she moves her body when she runs on the soccer field. I'm like, that's exactly how Ava ran when she was that same age. And so it's kind of fun because Allie's a reminder in so many ways of Ava in our home, even though Allie's her own unique person, right? She is who she is, and she's not trying to be Ava by any means, but we're just lucky to have that little reminder with us kind of at all times.
That's so cool. My first introduction to you, Allie, was I think we were at the farm park, and you ran up to Casey, who's been on our podcast. We love him and his episode. and he went to give you a fist bump, and you grabbed his fist and you said, "I'd like to bear my testimony," into his fist like it was the microphone, and then you took off, and I was like, "Who is that girl?" And anyways, you were just so fun and so happy and just a light, and man, it means so much to me that we want our kids to have good friends, and it just means so much to me that you're Callie's friend, and Kallie was the oldest. When Kamryn passed away, you were the youngest when Ava passed away, but you were both the same age. You were both 9, and that's just kind of a cool connection that we have that way of our oldest and our youngest were the same age, and so between the two of us, we've kind of gotten the whole, experience of almost every age and what that's like to have a sibling pass away. So anyways, thank you, Allie. Thank you for coming on and sharing your thoughts with us today.
So, Allie, what would you want the world to know about you?
Well, I'm also 12 years old. I love playing soccer. I love hanging out with my friends and my family. I am, like my dad said, I'm very outgoing, and I just love to make people happy.
Yeah, and you're good at it. You're good at making friends. You're good at making people happy. You're well connected, as they say, in whatever atmosphere you're in and social situation. You've got friends at school, friends in the neighborhood, friends at church, friends in soccer. You just kind of make friends everywhere you go. So that's one of your special talents. So would you just maybe share some memories that you have about Ava, some fun memories or whatever you want to share to kind of represent your relationship with Ava and who Ava is to you?
Well, Ava was really funny. She's really funny, and she always made time for her siblings, which I thought was really cool, because some people, their older siblings that are 18, they might just say, "Oh, I'm just going out with my friends, I'll see you tonight," or whatever. But Ava, she made sure that we were a part of her friend group, which was kind of a cool thing, I thought. One of my special memories with Ava was during COVID quarantine. We went down in our basement that wasn't finished. In our basement, we have this really big room. It's long, not super wide, but it's really long. And we set up a mattress, and we started throwing paper towel rolls at each other. And we called it Super Nuke, and it was a really fun game. And then we got a toilet paper roll with the 6 little toilet papers, and we wrapped it in duct tape, and we named that Super Nuke. And so we would just play Super Nuke all the time, and just all the games we made up during COVID.
You'd play Super Nuke until Mom came downstairs.
Yeah, our mom came downstairs, and she said, "What are you doing?" She took Super Nuke away, and now we have a grave underneath our bathroom sink for Super Nuke.
Okay, awesome. Any other stories you want to share about Ava?
There's one more. We were all really bored, and so we all got on a different level of our stairs with Grace, who isn't the oldest. She's the second oldest. She stood on the floor, and Ava got on a stair and got on Grace's back. And then Jake...
Kind of like a piggyback.
Like a piggyback.
Yep, okay.
And then Jake got on Ava's back like a piggyback, but they're both on Grace. And I jumped on Jake, and Grace was carrying all of the siblings on her back. And it was kind of a funny little thing, because we were just messing around.
And we happened to get that on video, or a picture.
I think we have both.
I think we have both. And so it's kind of this fun memory that comes, because the kids are just laughing and smiling, and Grace, who's this powerhouse, the soccer player with these strong legs and the strong back, she's carrying this mighty load of her 3 siblings on top of her, but kind of struggling to move. And but it was just hearing the laughter is so fun. Let's transition a little bit to Ava getting sick. So what do you remember about Ava getting sick?
I remember that, we all didn't think it was a big deal. It seemed like it was just a stomach flu. She was sick. I think she threw up, but it was just signs of the flu. She just had stomach aches all the time. And I remember we took her into the doctors a couple times. They said everything was fine. And then I was at a basketball camp because we got her blood tested, because she just wasn't getting better, and it had been like 2 weeks. And we found bruises on her legs. So we were like, that's, like, she hasn't left our couch. That's not something that happens from the stomach flu. So they got her blood tested, and I was at a basketball camp, and I just remember seeing Mom crying in the doorway, and I told the instructor, I was like, I'll be back soon, like, 1 second. And my mom was like, come on, we have to go. And I was like, what? And she's like, it's about Ava. And I remember just sitting in the car being super confused. And I remember Ava was on our couch with a blanket. I think you were kneeling on the ground next to her, and I'm pretty sure Casey Coles was there. And I just remember coming in being like, what's going on? And Mom was like, she has cancer. And it was just something that was super hard. It seemed super unbelievable. And it's just hard because we had to get her to primary children's hospital, so there wasn't really a lot of time to say goodbye. It was like, Ava, I love you. And then we gave her a blessing, and you guys were gone.
It was a chaotic night and a lot of information to process and download. And we weren't there with you to help you do that, right? Yeah. What do you remember, like, over maybe that next day when me and Mom were gone? What do you remember about your feelings and what you were thinking about Ava being sick and Ava having to work through cancer?
I remember waking up and being really confused because Mom and Dad weren't here and Casey was here. And that was weird, and it was confusing being like, oh, right, they're at the hospital with Ava. It wasn't just a dream. And it was hard, but also I was like, Ava can get through anything.
She's a tough cookie.
She was a tough cookie. And I just remember I was worried, obviously, but I wasn't super worried because also Ava never really got sick. So I thought, this is something we're all just going to get through as a family. Like, we'll go up, we'll see her. She'll be back home soon. She'll be back to her old self. Like, she'll be fine. And that was just hard once she wasn't.
Yeah. You had a chance to come up and visit her as well. And so what was that visit like when you got to come up on the day before she passed away?
I was really excited because even though it had only been like a day, it felt like it had been a long time since I'd seen Ava. And it was really fun because we got little hearts. All of the siblings got one, and Ava had one.
These were like the hospital gave you hearts that were kind of sewn together and almost like little tiny pill, like the smallest little pill, fit in the size of your hand, right? Somebody had probably made them and donated them at some point, but they gave each of you one and Ava one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. I remember, I think Jake went in first because we had to all go in at separate times because there was a lot of machines. The room wasn't very big. Ava had all of this stuff hooked up to her. And I remember sitting in this really big room. It looked like it was probably a conference room. And then just one by one, we all went in and we said hi. I think my brother Jake went in first. He didn't have to put anything on. He just went in and talked to her. And then when Grace, the second oldest, she walked in, I think she had to wear a mask and gloves. And then when I went in, I had to wear a gown and a mask and gloves. And I just remember talking to her. The only thing we could really touch was her feet because she had the IVs in her wrists and she had one of those clips on her fingers. And so didn't get to talk to her for a very long time, too.
Did she... I don't remember some of these things. And so was Ava able to talk to you? I know she had oxygen masks on, and it was hard for us to communicate with her a lot of the time, but sometimes she got to talk. Were you able to ask her questions and she was able to talk to you, or what was that like? Do you remember?
Or did you tickle her feet?
I massaged them, and she was like, oh, that feels so good.
That's nice.
Yeah. And then, so, she was able to talk a little bit. I was like talking to her, squeezing her feet, being like, "Oh, Ava, I love you so much." And she was like, "Oh, I love you." Like, she's kind of like drowsy, you know, not super comprehensive. And I just remember her being like, "Oh, I'm coming home soon." And that was hard a day later.
Yeah. Maybe was nice that day, but a little bit hard the next day. So let's move to the next day. So the next day, late morning, early afternoon, we found out that Ava wasn't going to make it, and so we asked our friends and family to come bring the kids up so they could have some time, so you guys could have some time with Ava. What do you remember about that, as hard as it is to talk about?
I remember going up, like, the stairs. She was in a different room now, and this nurse took us into a waiting room, and she was like, "There's some maybe scary things in there." So she took a bunch of pictures, and she came back, and they were like, "Ava has this thing in her head, and we shaved around it, so she might not look the same. She's a little puffy." And I just remember seeing those pictures and being like, not completely traumatized, but like super scared, because I was like, this isn't my sister. Like, this isn't what she looks like. And it was hard, because after that, we went in, and it was like, I couldn't even tell, really, because it was just so hard. And then just seeing her like that just made me so sad. And I remember crying a lot. But then I just kind of stopped. I was in, like, complete shock when we had to take her off of... So she had a tube because she couldn't breathe. So she had a tube going down her throat, and it was pretty much breathing for her. And we decided that we didn't want her to live in this miserable state anymore. So we turned off the machine. She breathed for a few seconds by herself, and then she had passed away, and that was really hard. But I remember I didn't cry during that part, because it was like, I was in complete shock. I was like, this can't be happening. Like, it's just impossible. And I remember at one point I left the room, and I just sat with my uncle, because I just couldn't stand being in there anymore.
Yeah, that was a night to remember, but also a night not to remember. There's a lot that I would love to forget about that night. But you showed so much strength being there, and your love for Ava was so apparent in how you interacted with her and loved her and hugged her and spent those kind of final moments with her.
Allie, thank you for sharing that and your experience with us. And yeah, it happened so fast. I'm sure it did feel like unreal, right? And hard to process, you know, as a 9-year-old to watch this happen to your hero, you know. And so thank you for sharing that. Was there a moment where it kind of became real for you?
Probably the day of the funeral when they closed the casket.
Yeah.
That was really hard, because just, like, seeing her, like, see it be final. Like, they were like, "Are you guys ready to close the casket? Because once we close it, we can't open it." And that was just super hard, because it's like, are you ever really ready to close the casket? And that's kind of when it set in, especially because my birthday was 2 days after, and that was just terrible.
Yeah.
So as you think about your birthday, those next few days happening after the funeral, what were some things that were helpful for you that you remember?
Seeing my friends, they really helped me feel better, especially because a couple of them came to Ava's funeral, and it was like, wow, just like, it was just so nice to see that support from people who, some of my friends knew Ava, some didn't. They just knew me, and they knew how much she meant to me. And so just seeing them come, that meant a lot, just seeing them and their support.
What about, so Ava passed away on October 30th, and the next day was Halloween. And as parents, we were kind of like, I'm not sure any of our kids want to go out trick-or-treating and doing all these, normal things. We all kind of felt like being home and just being under the covers and kind of crying and, thinking about Ava. But what was Halloween like for you?
It was pretty chill. Like, all my friends were like...
It was pretty chill.
It wasn't as fun as I thought it would be,
yeah.
But it was still fun, just like, because it was kind of fun to have an escape, because, like, everybody around me was sad and depressed, and I was sad, too, but it was nice to, like, see my friends and see them be happy, because it was like, okay, I can be happy. So then, also that night, we had a candle lighting ceremony where we live in a cul-de-sac, and the people in the cul-de-sac put candles all the way around the cul-de-sac. And I think there's like this big sign in our yard, and I was like, guys, I have to go home for this thing. And my friends were like, okay, well, we're going to finish this, and we might come. But I just remember my friend she just walked home with me, and she's like, I want to go to this with you and be supportive.
She kind of hung around. Gave you somebody to be with, and also maybe to not walk into something like that by yourself, right? It's nice to have somebody who's kind of got their arm around you. Anything else about friends? Anything else that a friend did, or as you kind of think through your various friends who were supportive, is there anything else that you remember that they did for you that was helpful?
I just remember my friend, she's really close with Ava because their whole family matched up with our family, and like our families are just best friends. So my friend knew Ava pretty good, and she was also going through it. Probably not as much because it wasn't her sister, but she understood it, and it was nice to have someone who wasn't a part of the family understand what was happening and like go through it with me. My other friend, she would see me at school, and she just really she noticed the signs of when I was having a hard time or when I was about to just like break down for no reason. And so every day she would just...
Not for no reason. You had a reason.
Yeah.
Just like...
Out of nowhere.
Yeah, just out of nowhere. And she would just come and she would give me a hug, a good hug. Not just a, oh, hi, like side hug. Like a really good hug. Because in school we had learned about how like hugs, the pressure of a hug can like help you decompress, and it can help you feel happier. And so she just realized that that's what I would need some days, and she'd just come and give me really good hugs.
Mickelsons are fans of hugs. We're kind of a huggy group of people, so that certainly makes sense. Well, you definitely have been blessed with really good friends, and friendship is such a help when somebody's grieving the loss of a loved one. Sometimes it's through conversation, sometimes it's a hug, sometimes it's just sitting there and being together without having to talk about it, but to just have somebody that you know and love. And we've been very blessed by so many good people. Would you be okay talking a little bit about Ava's friends?
Yeah, Ava's friends, I always felt like because of Ava, because she was such a fun big sister, I always felt like her friends were my friends. And after Ava had passed away, so Ava was planning my birthday party. She was going to make my cake. It was going to be so much fun. But then she passed away and she couldn't do that anymore. And like Ava's friends, they came and they took me out to get ice cream. And that just like solidified that Ava's friends were so much like her, and like that they cared about me as much as they cared about her. And that was really helpful, seeing how 18-year-olds cared about a 9-year-old girl.
And it seemed like they would come visit us a lot after Ava passed away, and it was fun to talk to them as parents, but it seemed like they were always interested in talking to you and to Jake and to Grace and checking up on you guys and how can we help and what can we do. And it seemed like there was a real connection formed with this older group, these 17, 18-year-old awesome youth. And I remember that being like something that lifted our spirits a lot, was the visits that they would come make to our family. And and especially to our kids. Okay, there's another topic that we wanted to kind of discuss, and so I'm curious what you'd like to share. When I asked you what were things you wanted to talk about that were helpful, you said, I'd like to talk about friends, and I'd like to talk about the second coming. And that's a big topic in our house. Alina in particular is very interested in second coming teachings and scriptures and prophetic statements, and is excited for the time when that comes again, because that means we get to be with Ava again. And so we talk about the second coming a lot in our home. But what's your perspective on that, or what's been helpful for you?
Well, just like the fact that Heavenly Father wanted to make sure that we could be with our families again, and that just gives me so much hope, because it's really hard not being able to see someone you love every day, or if she was on a mission once a week over Zoom. Another thing that really helped that has to do with the second coming, I had a dream probably a couple weeks, maybe a couple months after Ava passed away. I remember just feeling so tried about my faith because she had passed away. I remember being why is this happening? Our whole family had so much faith. We've always been so strong in the gospel. I'd say we have a lot of faith. And just thinking is my faith not strong enough? Is it not good enough? And I just remember laying in my bed thinking that. And then I had a dream that night that was really cool. It was about the second coming. I was at the cemetery with my dad, but my dad was sitting in the car. And I was asking questions, feeling hopefully I get answers to these. And I did get answers, and it was really cool. I was okay, I feel I came, I got what I came for. And so I was feeling I was almost ready to leave. And then just the ground started shaking, and it was really cool because Ava's casket popped up, and I got to see her, and she was alive again, and it was a really cool experience of the second coming. And it was this might not be how the second coming actually is, but it felt so lifelike just seeing her again. And the second coming was just so much more of a thing I wanted to study and be ready for after that dream.
That's a pretty powerful dream, a pretty powerful vision. Not a vision. It was a dream, but to be able to envision what things might be like, and who knows what it'll be like when the second coming happens. But when Kallie was doing her interview, I was thinking about what will it be like the next time that Kallie gets to see Kamryn. Mm-hmm. I think we always envision the embrace. Mm-hmm. Where will we be? What will the weather be like? What will the surroundings be like? It's a very hopeful thought.
Yeah, and exciting, right? To think about it that way, that we will see them again, and we will hug them again. We'll feel them again. We'll have experiences. We'll laugh with them again, and that's one of the things that we've seen in your family, that you guys are just full of joy. And it's fun to think, that we will have joy with our family again because of Jesus Christ. So thank you for your testimony, your witness of that, Allie. That's powerful.
So Allie, considering your experience with grief, what do you now believe about Jesus Christ?
Well, I 100% believe that Heavenly Father is a God of miracles because of this trial, because of all of the help that we've gotten from people in the neighborhood, and just my dream, that was such a miracle because I was going through probably the roughest time I've had with Ava's passing, and that was just such a miracle and such a blessing. And having supportive parents is such a blessing, and having good friends, it's such a miracle. And so that's something that I've taken away and that I very much believe now about after Ava's passing.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Allie, for coming to share hard feelings, hard memories, good memories, and everything in between. As Kori talked about Kallie and the life that she brings into her family and being the oldest, and we have very similar feelings about you, even though you're the youngest. And we kind of rally around you because you're such a spark of joy in our home, and you have that beautiful smile and a desire to do good. And so thank you, Allie, for being who you are. Mom and I love being your parents. We're blessed. It's a miracle that we get to be your mom and your dad. So thank you, Allie.
Kallie and Allie, it's like you were meant to be friends. That's what you said before we started, and we feel that way. Thank you both for all that you've shared with us and what you've taught us. Thank you to our incredible guests for sharing their story of hope. If you know someone who might be blessed by hearing this message, please share it with them. We would love it if you would subscribe, rate, and review, and comment on our podcast so others can find it. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook, as well as join our Grief and Beliefs Facebook group. Thank you to our sponsor, High Five Live Tours, where fun and joy meet on inspiring travel experiences. Special thanks to our producer, Misty Lynn Howard. Check out her history podcast called Faith Ignited. Thank you again for listening, and we'll see you next time.